You know, I have so much respect for Jack Nicklaus, and I think winning his tournament way back when, honestly, if I had to tell you the year, I wouldn't bet money on it, but it was in the 90s. He means a lot to everybody, but there's just, when you're around him, it's such a unique feeling because this is my 40th year on the PGA Tour, but every time I get around him, I feel like I'm 30 years old because it's such an experience to be around him and listen to him. But as far as turning 80, I think that's a huge accomplishment. I hope I get there someday. And I just watched him play in the father-son where he played with his grandson, and it's just fun to see him. He's a great man.
When I played so many tours, I played with his son Gary, and Jack and Barbara came out and followed. I was so excited to meet Jack Nicklaus, my boyhood idol. And I said, Mr. Nicklaus, is there any advice you could give me, a young pro starting out, what I can do to get better? And he says, yeah, I do. Anytime you clean your spikes, use 2 tees. I said, okay, how about something else? And I said, what did you do under pressure situations? And he said, there is one thing that I did. I made sure that my jaw was very relaxed and my tongue was just kind of loose in my mouth. And if I did that, then my neck was relaxed, my shoulders relaxed, my arms relaxed, my hands relaxed. And I thought that was a great thing, meaning when you're under pressure situations, a lot of times people get tight and get tense, and he was always trying to be nice and relaxed. And I thought that went a long way for my game.
Back in 1986, I was drawn out with Jack at the Masters on the very last round. So I was there to witness and mark his scorecard on the winning score. So that was a big moment because that was the only time I've actually played with him. And I've said to a lot of people, I said I was probably more nervous about signing his scorecard correctly than I was actually playing with him because, I just didn't want to be, you're the man that got Nicklaus disqualified because you didn't sign the scorecard properly. So that was, I think, the most memorable time so I had to witness that very, very nice 65 last round, which was wonderful to see.
Well, first, congratulations, Jack, on 80th birthday. It's coming up. I can't believe that year so fast. You're so great for the community, the kids. I had great experience with you up in your tournament in West Palm Beach. You're so kind to everybody, especially to me, to all the players. Congratulations on the 80th birthday.
Happy 80th birthday, Jack. I sure miss playing with you and enjoy your company all these years. I remember we played at AT&T one of my first years there, I think it was 1986, and you had that big putter, and you hit it inside me on like number 15, and it's probably about a 15, 20 footer, and you were just inside me, and you asked me is the coin okay? I said, looked down at it, and I said, yeah, it's fine, and you looked at me and said, Gene, do you want me to remove my coin? Because those greens like the back of your hand, kind of like Augusta too. So you got that big old putter and you moved that thing over like twice. So you were kind of showing me the line, so I appreciate that. I missed a putt, but I think you made yours though.
Coach of the President's Cup team down in South Africa, and I am as nervous as possible on the first tee. And of course, I glance over at Mr. Nicklaus, and he just gives me one of those winks, and a big smile across my face, big chills up my back, and it just fires you up that much more to just go get it. To be kind of in his circle, in his realm, that has been such an honor for me. Never thought I could get there. I'm still getting the chills right now just thinking about it. It's his world, we're just walking through it.
Well, it's amazing that I've known Jack since really I was maybe 10 years old when he was coming to the Atlanta Classic, or I was going to a US Open or PGA with my dad, and I got to hang around Jack Nicklaus a little bit. And that was 40 years ago. It's just hard to believe that Jack is actually going to be 80 years old. He seems like he's timeless. He should go on forever like Arnold. And I'm just glad that I get to go back to Memorial, or I get to see him down in South Florida, that we still get to hang around with a legend. And but 80 is awful old for a golfer and for a fly fisherman, so I hope he can hang in there.
Jack Nicklaus was part of my growing up. Obviously it was a big thing, the 86 Masters, a big thing when I was 16 years old. But the main thing for me was my dad had a Jack Nicklaus Golf My Way book lying at home. And in those days, there was none of the nice video cameras and phone cameras we have now, so you had to learn everything by picture and a mirror. So my dad had a big mirror there, and I looked over there. Jack Nicklaus held the club like that or like that, and that's how I held. He swung it to here. So I try to copy everything he did in that book, and that's basically how I sort of learned my game.
I really just want to thank him for everything he's done for our game. And just setting, the professional golf up for just a great run. I think he and Mr. Palmer and, Gary Player and Lee Trevino obviously were paramount with the development of this PGA Tour champion. So we're all thankful for everything he's done, but just in general, I think he's the greatest player of all time, and I'm proud to have played the same sport that he has.
I was lucky enough to play with Jack a few times early in my career. First couple years, I think I played with him once at his tournament at Memorial, and the competitiveness that he had then was just amazing. And still today, when you talk to him, you talk about golf with him, he's that edge that he has that made him so great is still there.
1988, playing as an amateur. And I'd won the Lytham Trophy, which is a major amateur event in the UK. And the same year with the Open Championship is at Royal Lytham. I qualified to play as an amateur, made the cut after 2 rounds, played the 3rd round, and got into the scorers hut. And of course, you want to know who you're going to be playing with the next day. And there was a whole bunch of players. I mean, real good top names at that period of time. And I just sort of glanced at Jack Nicklaus, but he was 5 or 6 guys away from me, and normally you need to be next to one another. But I thought, yeah, maybe I'm the only amateur to make the cut of the Open, and they might pair us together. Of course, when the draw came out, I rang the R&A for my tee time before mobile phones from the red phone box back in the UK, and can you tell me tee time for Paul Broadhurst? He said, yes, you're off at 9:12. Who am I playing with? He says, yes, you're out with a Mr. P. Azinger. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, man, Paul Azinger, what a draw. And a Mr. J. Nicklaus. I imagine I fell through the floor. I went back to the hotel and my dad said to me, he said, so who are you playing with? I said, oh, I'm out with Paul Azinger and Jack Nicklaus. And he said, no, who are you really out with? He thought I was lying. But no, it was a fantastic experience, He only won the Masters, 2 years earlier. So he was still still really competitive, and he showed us round. He shot 3 under with a bogey down the last. So great memories playing with him.
Played with Jack in 1997 at the Doral, and I asked him whether I could play with him at the Masters in a practice round. And he said, he kind of hesitated, and then he says, yeah, Fred, why don't you join Arnie and me on Wednesday? I went, really? I said, well, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So we meet. It's supposed to be 11 o'clock tee time. It was going to be Ken Bass against Jack and Arnie, and Ken Bass and myself. And just playing a little $5 Nassau, and it was so much fun, and we just had a great day.
I used to play in the Law Street Pro-Am, so the party was always at his house, so it was a great time.
When I was a little boy and you were walking up number 1 at Augusta, and I was probably 15 years old, and as I walked behind you, I said, I'll see you in a few years, Jack. And you turned around and looked at me, and here I am playing with you. So it's been a great experience, and for you, I read the golf my way, and that's how I learned to play, and thank you so much.
What I always liked about Jack, I don't know one word can describe Jack. I love Barbara, I loved his family. I loved how he competed greatly off the golf course, but he was a great father, he was a great husband, he's a great granddad. I mean, I got about 100 grandkids, I think. And to me, that's what I kind of patterned. I really wanted my family to look like that. I wanted to be a great golfer, but yet I wanted my family to be well taken care of, to enjoy the ride that I was on. I wanted to be a good granddad. I got 8 grandkids now. So to me, I always looked up to Jack in that. I mean, he's just the greatest in my opinion. I just loved everything about what he represented.
First time I really met Jack was, Tom Watson had a big charity event in Kansas City, and he had Jack and Arnold and Trevino there, and I had spent some time with Jackie Jr. and some junior tournaments and met Jack at Pinehurst, and Jack came right up to me grabbed me, says, "Come on, walk inside the ropes." So I'll never forget that at the age of 18 or whatever, just starting college. So he was always utmost classiest guy. His play obviously second to none. So I'll never forget that.
Happy 80th, Mr. Nicklaus. We're all very appreciative of you.